Today's video is going to be packed with a lot of information, so I hope you're ready because it's going to be a good one. YieldMax ETFs and Roundhill Investment have both announced massive distribution for this week. As passive income investors, you always want to see your money increasing, not going down. YieldMax ETFs and Roundhill Investments both have announced a distribution for this week. Here are the three YieldMax 0-day to expiry cover call ETFs, qdte, xdte, rdte. They have increased their distributions from what they paid last week at 24 cents, 21 cents, almost 10 cents difference from what they paid last week. So that's a huge increase. And with the price of today, you're getting a 35, 35, 33. Now, return of capital. We always talk about this. For qdte, it was only 47 cents. xdte paid 100% of this distribution came from a return of capital, and rdte paid zero in return of capital. Later on, I'm going to explain the whole return of capital thing, and I'm going to show you more YieldMax ETFs return of capital and how much they pay in distribution for this week. And here are three 0-day to expiry cover call strategy ETF from Roundhill ETFs, qdte, xdte, rdte, plus YBTC. This is an ETF that invests in Bitcoin. They also increased their distribution from what they paid last week. The biggest increase came from YBTC from 30 something cents to 56 cents. So that's a huge increase. And that represents about 70%. But qdte, xdte, rdte paid 32, 28, and 33 cents. And that represents about 46%, 31%, 46%. As for return of capital, all the ETFs paid 100% of the distributions came from return of capital. Hang on for a bit because I'm going to explain more about this return of capital and why Roundhill is doing this. Should you buy 0-day to expiry cover call ETF from Roundhill or from YieldMax? I want to show you a little difference here. qdte, this is the NASDAQ 100 0-day to expiry cover call from YieldMax, and this one here is from Roundhill. The price you can see here, this is 45 and this is 35. Yield, based on the current distribution they just paid, this one is 35 and this is 46. So there's a huge difference there. But one thing I want you to know, the difference of the price, this is 45, this is 35. Remember, this started at $50 and this started at $40. So that's a difference. Now, xdte, this is S&P 500 0-day to expiry cover call ETF. For YieldMax, that will be xdte. The price here is 46 and here is 46. So this one is a little bit high. It started at about $45. This one started at 50, but the yield, this is 35. The yield here is 31. So they are par when it comes to yield right now. In the small cap category, we have rdty. This is Russell 2000 from YieldMax, and rdte, this is Russell 2000 from Roundhill. The yield from YieldMax is only 33. Roundhill right now represent about 46%. The price is 36 and the price here is 49. Remember, this started at 50, so he hasn't lost any money so far. And this one started about 40. He has lost about $4, but this has been out for a long time. So if you're an investor who wants to buy either of these ETF, you have to consider one thing. The yield here changes each distributions. So in most cases, they all seem to be the same. If an investor who wants to pick one of these ETFs, you just have to look which ETF provider align better with your vision and your investment strategy. That's all I'll do. YBTC, this is on different category. Next, I'm going to explore a little bit more about return of capital, and I'm going to show you what strategy and what should you do. If you enjoying this type of content so far, please smash the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can always receive new update whenever I release new video. This is information I saw from just one of the ETFs. I went through all the 4 ETFs that I showed you earlier. But I just want to show you an example here. Estimated net investment income, 0. Current distribution was 0. Estimated return of capital, 32 cents and 100%. Total per common share was 32 cents and that was 100%. So this seems to be a strategy that Roundhill is deploying, using 100% of the distribution as return of capital. And there might be a big meaning to that. So I can go just with the information I see on website. If you're an investor who invests in Roundhill ETFs, the best thing to do is to go on your brokerage statement. Every month you're going to receive distributions, and within those distributions, you're going to have an explanation what was return of capital and what came from qualified dividend and so on. That's the best way to know, especially if you're investing in taxable account. If you're investing in a tax-free account or tax advantage account, then you don't have to worry about this type of information, because you will never have to be dealing with that in the future. Let me give you a glimpse, an example of my own distributions that I've been receiving from YieldMax ETFs. This is distribution history from end of January 2025 to mid-March 2025. The ETF that I invested is YMax. This is Title Trust YieldMax Universe Fund of Funds. Operation is dividend. Quantity, I had 2,000, then I add another 1,000 shares. Now I have 3,000. When I had 2,000 shares, I received it from 344 to lowest was 265. Then a couple weeks ago, I received 721. I think this was the highest I've received for 1 week. It's a big money. Now, last week I received only $300, and that's because they pay very low. They only pay 10 cents per share. And of course, 10 cents times 3,000, then you get $300. This is just history information I can see. But if I want to know more about how much was return of capital from this one, from my tax perspective, then I would go to my statement. This is monthly statement I receive every month. And also end of the year, I receive tax receipt. And within that receipt, I get all distributions and all the dividend and every single income that I received or interest I've paid or anything like that, or the trades, that will be included in my statement. That's the best way to go. But here I can just see how much I've received. I won't be able to tell from me going to YieldMax website and see the return of capital of this one was like 100%. So I know, okay, 100% of this money is return of capital. That means I don't have to pay taxes on that. That's not how it works. You have to go to your statement and you will get all the information. So I think that will answer your question. One more thing I need to add about return of capital is that sometimes ETF provider would mark a dividend or distributions return of capital for tax implication, because either they want to reduce tax burden for you as an investor, or there's more to it. So to know better, you need to talk to your CPA, especially if you're an investor who is investing a lot of money in these ETFs. The last thing I want to show you here is distributions from YieldMax and how much of that distributions will return of capital. Now we have 8 ETFs paying weekly distributions. So if you want to get weekly distributions, you can invest in these 8 ETFs. Other ETFs pay monthly or every 4 weeks. GPTY is going to pay 26 cents, and that represents 33%. LIFG, 47 cents, that's 67%. qdte, rdte, xdte, I've already shown you this. Ulti is going to pay 9 cents. If you round up, it's about 10 cents, and that represents about 79%. Last week, they paid pretty much the same. They paid about 10 cents, so it's been consistent from last week. And one thing to know about Ulti, remember, this is an ETF that used to pay monthly distributions, and then they just changed to weekly. For people who want to invest in weekly distribution ETF that has different strategy and has higher yield and very low price, Ulti will be for you. Right now, I think it's about $6.60. YMAG is going to pay 8 cents. That's only 29%. YMAX is going to pay 15 cents. That's 57%. From the share that I hold, 3,000 shares, if I do calculation, 15 cents times 3,000, I'm going to get about 457 and 80 cents. Crash, this is an ETF that show Tesla is going to pay 64 cents, and that's 100%. FIT, this is a Right featured 5 income ETFs, is going to pay 69 cents, and that's 25%, very low. FIVI, this is Right hybrid 5 income ETF. is going to pay about 71 cents, and that's 25%. This is a YieldMax Google ETF. It's going to pay 33 cents, and that's 34%. Or ARK is going to pay 32 cents, and that's 51%. Snowy, 81 cents, and that's 63%. Tesla, 46 cents, 76%. TSMY, 57 cents and 47%. Shomo, this is YieldMax ExxonMobil ETF, is going to pay 30 cents. That represents only 26%. This is YieldMax Bitcoin Option Income Strategy ETF, which is comparable to YBTC from Roundhill ETFs. Is going to pay 44 cents, and that represents 56%. So as you can see, all the Bitcoin ETFs have been paying higher, and it's because crypto has been very volatile recently. Now let's look at the return of capital for all these ETFs. Unlike Roundhill Investment, YieldMax ETFs doesn't mark all their distributions as return of capital. For example, GPTY is going to pay 0 in return of capital. LIFG is 53% of distribution is return of capital. qdte is 47%. rdte is 0. xdte is 100%. alt is 100% of distribution is return of capital. ymag 24% return of capital. ymax 43% return of capital. Crash is 98% return of capital. FEET is 0%, FIVI 0%, GUI 0%, ORK 71%, Snowy 0%, Tesla 94% was return of capital, TSMY 93% was return of capital, Shomo ExxonMobil ETF 77% was return of capital, and YBTC 97% of that was return of capital. By the way, this is going to be Group A distributions. For people who don't know, YieldMax has 4 Group A, B, C, and D, and each group pays distribution every 4 weeks, except the 8 ETFs that I showed you here. These are weekly ETF. They pay every week. So every week you're going to receive distributions from one of the Group A, B, C, or D, and including that, if you hold one of these ETFs that pay weekly, then you're going to receive distribution from one of these ETFs. For this week distribution, ex-dividend date and record date is on March 20th, 2025, which is tomorrow, and payment day is on March 21st, 2025, which is on Friday. Roundhill ETFs has the same schedule for these 4 ETFs as YieldMax ETFs. They're also going to pay on March 21st, which is on Friday. I know this video was packed with a lot of information. I just wanted to keep you an update on Roundhill investments and YieldMax ETFs, their distribution for this week, and how much they have increased distribution from last week. And I also wanted to touch base on the question of a return of capital. I also wanted to make it less confusing for people who want to buy a 0 day to expiry cover call ETF. You can buy either from Roundhill or from YieldMax. I show you the difference between those two. If you find value in today's video, please consider liking, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you always receive new updates. And if you think this video can help someone, please share with that person. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next one. Bye-bye.